What's going on, guys? So I'm sure I've got the title somewhere along the lines of every leveled or lifted GM truck needs this. And so let's flip the camera around and check it out. So here she is. You might could tell from the thumbnail, but it is upper control arms. So for one, this is pink underneath here. This is like floppy, and the way it was packaged, this had some pressure on it and the paint chipped off of it, so I'll have to repaint that. But these are Ready Lift upper control arms. They're pretty cool. I've been wanting to do upper control arms on this truck for a while. Well, really ever since I leveled it, because I know Chevrolets have always you needed to do upper control arm. But apparently in 2016.5, they swapped over to this stamped steel. And from what I've read on Ready Lift's website, it's not really locked into place like the previous years, and supposedly GM has stated that this upper control arm is not designed and should not be used in any leveled or lifted application. So it can fail prematurely, or well, it should never fail, but it can wear prematurely, like really fast, and potentially fail, the ball joint fall out, and you'd be doing the ka-chow mod, if you've seen that on Instagram, where literally your tire will either fall in or out, and typically tears up your bumper or your fender, or a whole bunch of crap. So that's the last thing you want, is your upper ball joint, or any ball joint, but mainly your upper one, to fail. And that is apparently a really big concern on especially the 16.5 and newer trucks. So I've been doing some research, and there's a ton of these for the previous year models, like the 2000, well, anything prior to 2016.5 apparently had the aluminum or the regular, I don't know. There was two other ones that typically came on them, but after that 16.5, they came with a stamped steel, and the aftermarket is not that huge for this model. This stuff's really freaking me out because it looks like a freaking zit squirting. That's really gross. But yeah, so there's a couple different, I think Cognito makes one, and that's like the ultimate, super expensive, supposedly really great. However, I went with the Ready Lift because of a couple different reasons. One, from their website, they appear very, very strongly about the product they make, as well as a couple cool features. The ball joint in here is replaceable. On their YouTube video, a guy asked if they were replaceable, and they commented back saying if it were to ever fail, the way they said it, they're like, it should never fail, but if it were to, you can replace the ball joint in this. You don't have to replace the whole arm. And another cool feature is it's got these little teeth. It's not really teeth, but it's rigid, and this is supposed to really help with it staying in alignment, because apparently aftermarket control arms are bad about coming out of alignment after, I don't know, a certain amount of time, or hitting a bad bump or whatever it might be. But this design is supposed to really keep it in alignment, as well as all your bushings and everything are already put in, so you don't, some of them come with it all out and you have to press it in, or however it is. And this is all, this obviously has a little grease fitting right here, but some of them have it up here and stuff. All this is self-contained and self-lubricating. And supposedly, you just chunk these bad boys in. They're meant for a level or a lift, and they're supposed to do great. I put a little thing on Instagram, and several people said that they had them, and like one guy said that his wore out pretty quick, but maybe he just had like a lemon or something, but hopefully that was the case. But several people said they did have these and they worked good. So that's what we're gonna be doing. I'm not gonna be doing a full install video or anything. I'll give you a couple of updates along the line, because I'm gonna be doing it in the basement. I don't have super good lighting. Also, when I install stuff myself, I don't really like to, I don't know, do the whole filming thing. I guess that's a bad thing to be like, but I like putting some music on, or putting some YouTube videos on or something, and just getting down and dirty and getting it done. So that's really how I feel about that. So I'm definitely gonna get it inside. I'm not gonna do it all in one tonight. I'm gonna take it easy, because it about killed me whenever I did the 3-inch leveling kit. If you've ever done a 3-inch leveling kit on this body, it freaking sucks. It's so hard to do by yourself. And typically I have plenty of friends that could help me, but I like doing stuff myself. Just like when I did the airlift on my Mustang, I did it all by myself. I just like working on it. And if you have other people there, you get distracted, or you have different people tightening different bolts and stuff, and I just like being in control of it. So that's how I feel about that. But yeah, so I'm gonna get it in. I'll update you on the way. Anything that I run into, I'll definitely update you on that. But I'm really curious because these are supposed to improve ride quality, and I think that the truck rides really good as is. So if it rides even better, I'll be stoked about that. But yeah, so we'll definitely have a separate video talking about how it performs after I get them in, and really check them out after I get some miles on them. But let's go ahead, pull the truck in, and get started. All right guys, so I got the driver's side out. This is the stock one, obviously. So a little side by side. I would say this one definitely looks a lot more bulky. And Huey's going crazy down here licking me. But yeah, so here's what we're working with. As you can see, this one's got a little bit of grease seeping out the bottom. And I saw a picture where you see if I can lay this up here. I saw a picture of this dude that took his off after a lot of miles, and his was actually really bent. This one appears to be pretty straight. So definitely, this is what you were wanting to replace. I didn't mention earlier, but this will also supposed to correct for the camber effect that these can have because they don't have as much play. So then you once you get in alignment and everything, you should have perfectly straight tires and not have any of the camber issues whatsoever. So I'm gonna get to putting the stock one back in there, and I'll catch up with y'all in a minute. All right guys, we just got done putting everything back together. So truck went all together pretty good. We're gonna back it out of here, and then we'll talk more about it. We're all done. First test drive is done. Handled really good first impressions. I definitely do think it improved the ride quality. Definitely seems to improve the ride quality, especially on some places on the road where you kind of got that little dip. It goes down. I think before it was kind of hitting the bump stops, and we no longer have bump stops, so I'll show you that. But definitely do think it's riding better now, which is amazing. I've just been on a very short drive. Just wanted to drive it down the road, make sure it's still running straight, not making any weird noise or anything. Get back home, tighten everything up, make sure everything is, well, I mean, everything's tight, but make sure everything stays tight. And yeah, just filling the truck out. So I'm gonna flip it around and show you exactly what we did. So she's looking mighty clean. And if you saw the video the other day talking about changing it up, this right here kind of makes me just not even want to do that at all, because the black and white just looks so freaking good. But that's a whole different subject. But we're going to be talking about the upper control arms. So it's a little dirty, I need to wash it, whatnot, but there they are. So yes, I need to repaint that little guy right there because it is it's pink because the paint flaked off of it from shipping. But yeah, so, and as you see, we no longer have bump stops, so I did cut them out. These tubular things are a lot fatter than the stock ones, and the stock one was already really close to touching the bump stop as is. So I just went ahead and cut it out, and that's what they recommend. And so now it's a lot more free movement. I know you don't want it to drop down too low because it can stress other components, but you know, with the shock and everything, I don't think it's gonna be able to drop far enough to damage anything. I checked it, everything with the tires on and stuff, with the truck lifted to see how far it could go down, and it didn't look like it would go down any further than if the bump stops were there, you know, it'd pick the tire out before it did that. But I might be wrong on that, but yeah, that's just how I feel about it. So yeah, hopefully everything works good. But everything worked good. You know, if you've installed a 3-inch leveling kit on these trucks and even the 2.5 inch might be the same way. It freaking sucks. These things, they're so freaking heavy, it sucks. And so this was not a fun install by any means. And but I made it through it, and yeah, so trying to give you all the angles and whatnot. So that's that guy, and it's got like a cone shape, and it has a lot more movement. The ball joint in here has way more angle available. It can go really far sideways. This A-arm can get much more angle than this, and it still have movement. And so that's definitely way better than the stock arm, because the stock arm, after looking at it, was not maxed, but fairly close to full angle, just sitting there. So definitely not good, definitely hard on the truck. So I would definitely say upper control arms are always a plus, especially if you're just leveled. If you're lifted, it's a little different, because you know, you got the drop rack and everything, and the geometry is a lot better typically, unless you have it maxed out or something. But if you have a leveling kit, especially a 3 inch, you might want to look into these for sure. And they're pretty pricey, but like I said, you can go on Summit Racing, and I believe I already talked about this, where you can get them for a lot cheaper than ReadyLift's website if you did want to go with ReadyLift. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, definitely a pretty much must do on these trucks, I would say, at some point. You know, like me, when I first put the leveling kit on, I should have just went ahead and got it, but I didn't. And I wasn't too worried about it at the time, because it was a brand new truck, and typically these things don't fail after like a couple thousand miles. These are typically things that fail after 10-20,000 miles, stuff like that, where you can start running into issue. So I wasn't really worried about it. Obviously it would have saved me a lot of time and effort, and having to get another alignment and whatnot. But yeah, oh well, got to make another video on it. So that's pretty much it. ReadyLift upper control arm, nice ball joint with a lot more movement than stock. And that's pretty much all I got to say. You know, basically, once you cut the bump stop out, this upper control arm has a ton more movement, and it's way easier to install the shock and to put the upper control arm in the knuckle. It's definitely a lot easier. And yeah, that's my only thing. I talked to some people, and some people said they did cut the bump stop out. Some people said they didn't. At least on this truck, if I hadn't have cut the bump stop out, it would have been sitting on it, and I just didn't want to do that. I'd rather have a little more play for sure, because it would ride like garbage if it was sitting on the bump stop. So that's that. And yeah, I guess that's about it. I'm pretty much just rambling at this point. So y'all let me know, are you running the stock ones? Are you running ReadyLift, Cognito, Rough Country? What are you running? And I guess that's gonna do it, guys. So we're cruising home. Everything seems to feel really good. Obviously, we'll have to see the longevity of these things as we go, because I have no experience with them, but they're supposed to be good. So definitely let me know if you have them, what kind of luck you have with them, and we'll see how they do. So aside from that, I'll see you all in the next one.